Welcome to PaRANTing.
Hi, everybody.
It's a podcast about kids.
This is not going to matter in your
That
life.
kids shouldn't listen. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the PaRANTing podcast. For those that are watching the video, I'm showing you the PaRANTing podcast mug in case you couldn't read for yourself. Welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 39. We are almost at 40 episodes, which is wild, which is so exciting. So first of all, how I don't know, but thank you for listening / watching. Very much appreciate it. So we are back again for another episode. I am the KDG here in Tantallon, Nova Scotia. I am joined, of course, by my cousin, friend, foe, just kidding, not at all, Mark Adam over in Winnipeg.
I am back. Here. Yeah.
You is here. We're both here.
Tis I.
Tis you. And for those of you watching the video, I'm going to say back to my bedroom.
You've been banished again?
Well, yeah, I've been banished. They're like, you're too loud and annoying. Please go away. And you have to go back to the room. So, because when I record these episodes, I am like just in the sunroom and kind of, it's about my workspace. So tonight was kind of like one of those nights where everyone was kind of like late getting home and like they hadn't eaten supper yet. So I was like, I'm just going to go upstairs and do this week because otherwise you would have had to listen to people banging and smashing around in the kitchen. So you're welcome. I saved you from that.
Yeah.
So I am up here.
Welcome.
Which is actually kind of nice. But like I say, like kind of like a throwback when we first started this podcast. I was doing them from up here. So it's kind of like, nostalgic.
Yeah. Because if you go back to the original episodes, there's a bunch of you just hanging out in bed, just for no reason. But yeah, you didn't want to force the people to tiptoe around today. You got some stuff going on in the family life, as is the case usually. How many times have I had to reschedule a meeting or anything like work-wise because of the whole family situation? But
yeah. No, exactly. You kind of just, they're really good about when I do it. Like they all are aware that I'm doing it. So they're pretty good about just being in their, usually it's like the kids are in their respective rooms anyway, so it's really not a hindrance, but it's almost like when you can't do something, you want to do something. So if it's like, we could, if you know what I mean, if the kids were in their room, they'd be in there for like 2 hours and like would forget that anyone else exists. And then it's like, as soon as that you say that they can't come out, they're like wanting to come out. So it was kind of like that deal tonight where I was like, I'm going to go upstairs. It just makes it so much easier. Like I was not dragging up all of my stuff. So it's like, laptop, camera, microphone, that's it. Well,
done.
Obviously laptop,
yeah.
but like that was just bare minimum today. So, but I do have an adult beverage in my mug. So I pre-planned because I have a little koozie thing with another one for backup just in case.
Smart.
So I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And for those that don't know, I moved my whole situation around and,
yeah, you did.
So you can't tell, but it's not a real wall.
It's not a real plant. Are you kidding me?
It's and it's funny because like I have a T-shirt on this desk that's a green T-shirt. If you can hear the banging,
yes.
because like this is like a black desk and that catches the edge of it. So I put green T-shirt here and now it's.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so I can literally like my coffee cup can just like float. Anyway,
It is kind of cool though.
I got to adjust some settings. It's still catching my shoulders and doing some weird stuff, but not a today problem. We're just happy to be here.
Definitely not a today. Yes.
How has your week been, Kaz?
My week's been, it's pretty good. Like honestly, nothing crazy happened. So it was a pretty chill week. Like, work's work. Although I will say it's like, what is kind of good is that it's really quiet around the office, which is kind of nice. Because like in the summer months, like most people are taking vacations or starting to take vacations, so it gets a little quiet. And, Friday afternoons are kind of like I've been here for a couple hours on a mosey on out of here.
A little more relaxed.
Yeah, exactly, which I really appreciate because it's kind of, it's a good bonus to be able to, obviously you get your work done, but then, you're kind of able to free to do that, not every day or every week, but
and you're kind of in a hybrid situation where like you go into the office most of the time, but you also sometimes work from home.
Yeah. So we had since COVID, we had when we first started coming back to the office, obviously here in Nova Scotia, there's quite a few, everyone has COVID, everyone's getting it, everyone's out, either if they're not on vacation, it's because they have COVID. That's kind of the situation right now. So we first started kind of coming back to the office. They were doing a pilot project of giving us 5 work from home days a month. So you can choose whatever day. You could have a set day every week. So I chose Thursdays because we record on Thursdays. So I'm it's way easier for me to be, I get home, I'm already home. So I don't have to rush out of the office to get back here. So it's kind of nice to have that optionality.
That is pretty cool.
For sure. So
that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm in a place where I'm here all the time. This is just where I live. This is my basement.
I go here.
Yeah. I have the whole thing set up so it's, but I got a second desk now that I'm going to have set up. So when the girls want to be down here and I'm just working on my computer, they can come and do their homework here and hang out and whatever. And that way they don't feel so far away.
That's awesome.
I'll feel a little more connected. They'll feel a little less ignored, hopefully. Because, I don't leave them on their own all day, every day. But I'm working down here quite a bit, and I work hard, and and also the ADHD, I get halfway through a thing, and I'm I have to finish the thing. I just blinders on, and so I can, if I'm uninterrupted, I don't set alarms or anything. If I go that route, I could literally be here for 14 hours and never get up. And then I get up and I'm why am I sweating? It's
oh my God.
It's a problem. I have alarms set to make sure that I take breaks, to make sure I literally have, I kind of took them all down because I was moving everything around, but I have a sticky note normally on my monitor that's asking me if I've eaten today. Did you eat yet?
I'm always, I see that all the time. That makes me, I think that's kind of cool. And, I think it's good that you do that and you recognize that, because I'm really bad for doing that. And maybe not to the extent of a lot of consecutive hours, but I've definitely, been sitting far too long and for maybe a couple hours because I'm no, I got to get this thing done or I have to finish this. And if I get up, I'm going to get distracted and which usually happens. So I get that. And actually it's funny because we're I'm on the diversity and inclusion network we have at our at my work. And so this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so we were trying to encourage people to take breaks at the workplace. So it's a checklist of things to do to kind of help you improve your mental health. So whether it's just tidying up your workspace or striking up a conversation with a coworker that's not work related, just things like that. But getting up and just getting away from your desk for eating your lunch, not at your desk kind of thing. So it's good to have that. Some people recognize that I definitely need that. I tell people all the time, I'm you need to come get me because otherwise I will sit here forever and then I'll stand up and everything cracks.
And then sometimes I'll do that with Katie where I'll be she'll get home from work and she's still got her reports to send back in or whatever. And she needs a few minutes. And I'm listen, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to start working on some stuff. My camera's being weird. But then
you're weird.
But then when you come get me because I'm going to get lost in what I'm doing. And she's I'm not going to come get, I shouldn't have to come get you. You shouldn't have to. I agree. But this is who I am.
But you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to see me tonight, you have to come get me because I'm not going to be able to.
I will get distracted by shiny things and I will be down here forever.
Yeah. Speaking of shiny
please come
things,
get me.
I'm getting, my shoulder is,
Are you sparkling?
A little bit. I didn't want that to happen anymore. So I'm going to fix some stuff. So yeah.
Okay. You fix some things.
It's working. Yeah. See, we're always working on the technical side of stuff, just
it's never ending.
Just try to make it work. Making it work.
Making it work.
Anyway, shut up, Adam.
Yeah, people are like, we did not come here for karaoke.
This is not why you're here. Why
Although
are
if you
here?
ever like,
Have
if
you
you ever
seen
listen
this
to like
show?
clips of us when we, yeah, true. There's like clips of us when we first start. Like we come on earlier, obviously, and we're chatting, and it's usually random songs that we were singing Hakuna Matata like just before this. So
Were we?
it's kind of
Oh, we were.
yeah, we were.
Oh man.
That was like 5 minutes ago. Are you okay?
I think that was 15
Yeah.
minutes ago, according to how long we've been recording.
Okay, see, I don't know time. It's fine. But yes. We face its lies.
Yeah, just I'm watching you, lady. Yeah, so listen, kids, what about them? You know,
Yep.
like
Fuck those guys.
we're getting towards the end of the school year, and so and we're in that weird overlap where like some of the summer activities are starting. And
Okay.
so
Do the girls do like camps or anything like that?
well,
Do you guys have any sort of like
not normally camps, but this year my oldest wants to do this like CSI course. It's community something investigators, but it's like teaching kids grades 1 to 6 about like investigation methods and like just critical
Being
thinking
observant.
and paying attention, which I think is going to
Cool.
go a long way.
I want to do that. Can I do that?
Right? It sounds
That
really
would be
neat.
awesome.
So she wants to
Yeah,
do
it
that,
does.
and she brought home her permission slip today. So her mom wants to go over all that with her, and that's really
That'd
cool.
be fun.
But yeah,
Yeah, that's way cool.
she's also part Indigenous, my oldest, and so she goes to
Okay.
like these powwow things and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Excellent.
So yeah, then Amelia's playing softball, so that's a whole thing. And again,
Excellent.
as we kind of touched on in the last episode, not my favorite sport. So I try and be as supportive as possible because she likes doing it, and I want her to love what she's doing. And just because I don't like baseball doesn't mean that she shouldn't. Same as like just because I like hockey doesn't mean she has to. She does. That's a poor example, but like just because I like something doesn't mean that has to be her thing. And just because I don't doesn't mean that she has to avoid it. And I get that, and her stepdad, Scott, he's a baseball guy. He likes baseball, whatever. Cool. Power to him. Enjoy. Right. So I'll go and I'll support and all that. But I don't have it in me to like, I don't know. I'm just trying to
care?
Yeah. Well, it's not that I don't care. I care that she is enjoying what she's doing.
No, I know, but
But
yeah.
the activity
I
she
know what you
has
mean.
chosen is one that I absolutely just could give two flying fucks about. I just don't care. I just
fair.
I just don't care.
I feel like kids, like that's kind of a thing with kids. So you put them in whatever they're interested in those like 2 seconds, because they are so like what they like changes on the daily, if not weekly, depending on how old they are. So what they like this week, they may not like next week. So you just kind of roll with it, because that's kind of all it is. You just roll with whatever the flavor of the week is, and then see where you end up next week. The girls, when they were younger, they used to go to camps around here. So like I said, I'm in Tantallon. There's a camp it's called Camp Westwood, which is just a subdivision, close by. And so at the arena that's in Tantallon, they would just have like these, girls just want to have fun week. And so it's like they would do all these different activities. Like you could sign up for different things. There was like sport ones, there was the girl activity ones, there was like science type ones. So like things like that they could participate in for the whole week, which is basically just pay for childcare while you work, right? Because most parents, unless you're a teacher, don't get the summers off, right? So anyway, it was I remember having those, and I feel like the girls really enjoyed it. And then they got to the age, like as you get older, you can like actually become one of the like counselors there. So they actually get paid to go there. Cool. Which is, it's like, so it's like free. So then you don't have to pay. You're like, great, that's awesome. You're doing that because you need to go somewhere. And also you can't stay home yet. So you need to do that. So that was kind of a cool thing. that they used to do. So they have mixed stories. Now that they're older, you kind of really get how they felt about it. They'll actually tell you stories of like, oh my God, this counselor was so stupid or whatever. Just like there was just things that would go on that is just typical.
And then they're remembering stuff that happened. They're like, oh, that was messed up. Like I remember
that annoying kid that used to like, it's just like these random stories.
Or like,
I was like, I didn't know you were so traumatized.
Were so messed up until they think about it as like kind of older kid. You're like, that was messed up. Like, why did they do that? That was stupid.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
no, exactly.
Or the opposite. Like you realize like, oh wow, that had a way more positive effect on me than I remembered. You know, and you're thinking about it, you're like, those kinds of things are what made me decide to do blank, right? So it's kind of neat to think back to when you were a kid and like what made you like. Why am I like this? You know, you have that.
That's a loaded question.
Well,
that is a loaded question that someone far smarter than me could probably figure out. But I have to pay them a lot of money, so I choose not to. I do a podcast instead. Sorry.
This is our therapy to get through whatever the fuck that was as children. But
exactly,
I think it's cool that you know your sister watches, and I'm sure my mom watches still, and like the memories that they're thinking like that we haven't spoken of. They're like, they haven't mentioned this yet. I'm wondering if my mom's waiting for us to like bring up. I know,
honestly.
What is it that they're going to remember that this happened, or is that still in their
like is this traumatized them as much as I thought it would have?
has this memory resurfaced yet? Yeah.
Dad actually texted me this week because he watched the episode last week. And if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to last week's, go check it out if you want to. But we kind of dived into a little bit about like rational and irrational fears and sometimes how those are passed on from like parents. And so Dad actually texted me and said, because when I forgot about, because I said I was scared of heights, and and Dad is also very much terrified of heights, but he also said that he was his second fear, because you were saying that there's like two, there's always like someone has like two major
is it two
main things. I don't know, but he said claustrophobia. Like he's claustrophobic.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, yes, me too. Like I get that panicky if I'm in like a small space. So I'm like, yeah, I totally forgot about that. So I was like, thank you for bringing that up. And great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's listening and watching too. So hi.
Well, that's cool. And
thank you for watching.
Our Uncle Doug, he commented on the video saying, "You're welcome." So he watched the video too. And
oh yeah, I don't know what that was pertaining to though.
Me neither,
I forget.
because I mentioned him a couple of different times, and some of those were flattering and some of them were not. And I'm just wondering which one he was like, "You're welcome." Like, so
it could be either or, to be fair.
But honestly, like Doug was the one. Like everybody has that one person in your family that when you're a kid, like they just have that weird impression on you, and like. For better or for worse, like I'm not saying it was good or bad, because that is unfair to, like, it's just there's so much context required. But he was the one that was like, you know, he would teach me and Amanda how to eat things, and he would just, you know, oh, you got a piece of pizza, you fold it over, shove it in. Oh, you got a Pop-Tart? Oh, you fold it over, shove it in. Oh, you got a burger?
You know why? Okay.
Fold it over, shove it in. He's fucked up.
Great. So that was one of the big things. So we're getting so he would take his hamburger and squish them down. But this is the thing. The reason he would tell you how to eat these things, because he didn't have the jaw capacity to open up like normally. So he was like, I remember going and he would squish his burger down until it was like the size of like a McDonald's like teeny tiny burger. And then he would eat it. I'm like, why do you do that? And he was like, because his mouth was so small. So if you're listening to this, we're calling you out for your small mouth. But it's true.
Yeah,
like those are the things he would.
Mouth, Doug.
Yeah. I mean, small mouth to like eat things, but he definitely talked a lot. So not in that context.
I know, it's just so funny. Like I was just thinking, like he was such a big mouth. Like he's just constantly like chirping and talking
big little
shit.
Mouth.
And
yeah.
It's little mouth syndrome.
It's just like an Uncle Doug bashing
syndrome?
session.
You know, is that a little man syndrome? Is little mouth syndrome?
Little mouth syndrome.
Just talks a big game.
Poor Doug's gonna be like, fuck you guys, I'm not listening to this anymore.
Fuck, whatever. But like he was so fun.
We love you.
He was 100% the fun
He was so
uncle.
funny.
The fun uncle.
Oh, 100%.
He let me do shit
100%.
we should not have done. Speaking of which, and I'm going to bring this up again, and it's not like it's a big secret in the family, but it is a bone of contention with my parents. he was babysitting me and my sister when we were little. Like I was maybe 2. So my sister.
Okay.
It's probably a little over 2 because my sister was around. She was old enough, like maybe she was 1.
She was alive.
1.5, somewhere in there. So I was whatever my age plus that is. So I was a little older, and he took her to get her ears pierced as an infant.
Oh, I remember this story.
And so my mom and my dad were fucking livid. And then
as you would be.
It's just so fucked up. We keep talking on the show about like when is too young? Like how young is too young for alcohol? How young is too young for drugs, tattoos? We've been all over. But the piercings thing, my Uncle Doug took my infant baby sister and me to a fucking salon and got her ears pierced. Fucking awesome. Like, and of course I can't
imagine.
I have vague memories of that day. Like, when you're like that fog of being a kid, there's like maybe 5 days that you can remember any kind of details to.
Oh yeah.
That's one of those for me.
Right.
Like, that's one of those like
and it would be
defining moment days. And it was Doug. And because also you got to remember too, like my dad and your dad were in the Navy then. And they were like my dad at the time was, I think he was away then. And so that's why Doug was watching me because mom was doing whatever she had to do. And Doug didn't have kids at the time. And because Jacqueline didn't come around for another decade, I think, after that. But then, so he was, and I think he had only just started to date Bev, or wasn't even dating Bev yet, Aunt Bev. So, yeah, I can't even remember. But anyway,
so the qualifications were pretty low, is what we're saying. Like the resume for trusting your children with me.
It was the 80s, and you're my brother. Like,
yep.
The things were different in the 80s. They just were. So this was like 85 or 86 funny. When this happened. When this story happened, and
amazing.
It was pretty fucking great. And then what's really funny hilarious. Is he was also involved when I got my ear pierced.
What's with the piercings? What's happening over there?
I don't know. He doesn't have enough holes in his head, I guess. But anyway, so like we were at this house party at Aunt Teresa and Uncle Jean's. If you remember those parties, if you were ever at any of those.
I don't think I was.
No. Anyway, yeah, because I think at that point your dad there was a sort of a rift in the family at that point. I think him and your dad and Nanny were like button heads at the time about. Oh
God, who knows? There's always family drama happening. Yeah,
I don't remember what it was about. It doesn't really fucking matter. The point is, you weren't around during that time. But so I was. How old would I have been? Well, you also would have been a kid. Never mind, because I was 12. I want to say 12 or 13, and we're at Uncle Gene and Aunt Teresa's house.
Okay.
And Doug's there, and my parents are there, and everybody's fucking shit faced. And we're playing Chase the Ace in the basement. And
love Chase the Ace.
Yeah. So we're playing all that in the basement, and we're playing cars and playing all these different games and whatever. And so they one of the women that are there was I forget who the fuck it was now, and are they family? I don't even remember. This was a lot of years ago, and it was
if Doug's listening or watching this, then you just comment whoever that person was.
Yeah, honest to God.
Because now we need to know.
I don't know if Doug and Mom remember. Well, my mom will for sure.
Yeah, for
sure. We went to this party, and Doug was like, my parents were trying to talk me into getting an ear piercing. It was really fucking weird. And for a kid that has a thing about needles, it was fucking weird. Maybe
they just had it out for you.
I don't know.
They're like, this kid hates needles. Fucking stab him with something.
They're just hammered. Like, what'd be fun? Like, fuck. Anyway, so.
Come on, party pooper.
So anyway, I'm like, no, I don't want to. Like, I don't know. And then Doug is like, we'll both get our ear pierced. We'll go splits on the the studs. So we literally got our ears pierced together, drunk. He was drunk. I wasn't drunk. I was 12 or 13. But like we were just shit faced at this house party.
Not too young for our family.
So funny. So funny.
That's so fun. And for whatever reason, I feel like the only reason I remember this story is because I know that we've told this multiple times. Not even just me and you. I remember hearing about it. So
I think I've told this story maybe 3-4 times in my life.
Yeah.
But it was a big deal. And what was really funny at the time was that there was this kid in my on my hockey team who was his parents, the whole family, they moved from Germany like 2 years before that. So there's these German guys, the kid, his name was Jerry, and Skibinski was his last name, Jerry Skibinski. And so they moved to Canada from Germany into Nova Scotia, and playing hockey, this kid's like making friends and learning, and they learn really quickly that my dad is a bit of a hard ass, because like they just know like he's this rules guy, like he just loves rules, and that's anybody that knows my dad knows that's he just likes things the way he likes things. That's just how it is, and so that one made getting my ear pierced all the more fucking confusing to me. Since my dad's a sailor and the rules in sailing is you don't get your ears pierced till you sail the 7 seas. Then you can get your ears pierced if you want. Like you have to earn that shit.
And become a pirate.
Basically. But anyway.
Yeah.
But it's this old sailor tradition. But anyway, if you sailed the 7 seas, you get to get your ears pierced or whatever. I don't remember the exact verbiage of the tradition. But so anyway, this kid on my team, he wants to get his ears pierced, and he's been begging his parents forever, and because it's the cool thing to do at the time. It was early 90s, it was just the cool thing to do. So, that and rat tails were like super in at the time, and speed lines. Oh God,
don't even get me started on rat tails.
Anyway, Jerry wanted his fucking ear pierced, okay, and he begged his parents and begged his parents and begged his parents, and they eventually were like, I'll tell you what. If Adam Lardner gets his ears pierced, you can get your ears pierced.
Thinking that would never happen.
So I show up to school.
Boy, were they wrong.
I show up to school and show up to hockey with my fucking ear pierced. And Jerry's parents were pissed.
They're like, shit.
They're calling out my parents. They're like, what are you talking? We said that he could get his pierced if Adam got his pierced. So that was pretty dope.
Like, you fucked with our parenting style right there.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Way to call our bluff, assholes. Anyway.
Right?
So then Jerry got his ear pierced.
That's so funny.
That's how that.
Normally it's like the other way around. You're like, I don't care what the other kids are doing. You're not doing it. Yeah. Right? Like, no matter what they're doing, I don't care.
But like,
they went the other way.
My dad was so famously strict. And at the time we lived on the military base. Like we were.
That's funny.
Yeah. Or no, we didn't. We had moved already to Cranberry. But anyway, the point is, Jerry Skibinski, he got to get his ear pierced. Fucked up.
Jesus, that's hilarious.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
I thankfully have no horror stories about getting piercings because I have no interest in. Well, I do have one, but it's not anything to do with my parents. It was just me being a child, being like, I want my ears pierced, and then realized how bad it hurt, and I'm traumatized by it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I traumatized my stepdad from that too.
That first couple of weeks was rough because I got mine infected.
Yeah. Oh, that's what happened to mine. Mine ended up getting infected, and it was a whole thing. Anyway, I have vowed to never get a piercing again. So I'm like, I'll get tattoos because that's less fucking permanent. But anyway, I wonder if you can still see the hole. Yeah, I still have mine.
Yeah, it's still. I can feel it. That's crazy.
That's so funny.
That's crazy. Anyway, so this thing I did when I was 13 has permanent repercussions. Who knew? Anyway.
Exactly, 100%. But you know what? Okay, we're on this like memory lane of like the 90s and nostalgia, although piercings aren't nostalgic. But I was kind of doing a little bit of digging. We were going to get on this topic last week and we didn't have time because it's us. So I was kind of making a list of some shows that we watched when we were kids. So whether it was like cartoon, like most of it was like when I was younger, it was like cartoons that I remember watching. And then coming into like the preteen, young teen years, the shows that I used to watch. And I was going down this like rabbit hole of like, I just basically Googled 90s shows and was going from like animated shows to whatever they call drama or whatever. And like I was going down, I was like, oh my God, I remember this show. And I was like, and it's kind of the same thing we were talking about, things that you don't realize were really fucked up when you were a kid. There were certain shows that we watched that were like, that's kind of borderline questionable of whether we should have been watching that. So
there's a lot of shows from that era that do not hold up over time against like things like the Me Too movement and you know, like, you know, the anti-racist sentiment and all these other like things. They just, some of them are very questionable.
Yeah.
Friends is one of those.
For
There's
sure.
a bunch of jokes in Friends that I'm like, that is a really racy joke today, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like that was like I remember growing up with that and it wasn't that big of a deal. But now in this day and age, you look back on that and you're like, oh shit. Like you don't really realize like there's all kinds of those shows even farther back. Obviously the farther back you go, the worse the comedy or jokes are, right? Like race wise,
it's funny because
sexism wise,
in the 50s and 60s, like racism was a huge problem, but nobody talked about it even through comedy. Like it wasn't like, it was just a, we don't talk about Bruno situation. Like we just don't discuss it, we don't talk about it, we don't sing about it, we don't joke about it. And so like the discussion started happening later, you know, it's like the later in the 60s when, you know, because you know the whole human rights movement got real big at that point, as it needed to be and should be bigger today, to be honest. But like it was funny to watch, like when you go back and you see the humor, you're like, oh, that's so boring and quote unquote wholesome. But like at the same time, you hold that up against how society was at the time. You're like TV was like what people wished society was, and then reality was a whole other thing. So you know,
I feel like there's so many. There's like stuff that I watch that's a little like question mark, but then I think about stuff that, you know, some of the kids are watching and I'm like, I wouldn't have been allowed to watch that stuff when I was younger, just with respect to like some of the gore and some of these, like, you know, one of the younger one of her favorite shows is like American Horror Story. And I was like, I don't think I'd be watching that when I was like 14 or 15 years old for
if she's
sure.
your kid, shouldn't you not be letting her watch that kind of shit? I'm just asking.
Well, that's the thing. It's all your comfort level, what you like, you know, what they're comfortable with too. But I think it was kind of this progression of, I think how it, like in my interpretation of how it kind of got to that point was because she used to be so scared of like the littlest things in like shows and would not watch certain things. And then I think that she was trying to like maybe watch things with friends and kind of get a little bit more brave or whatever. But like there's things that they're going to watch at friends' houses that you don't realize until after they tell you that they've watched it. But it's just like anything else, you have a conversation about, you know, what they're watching. And now it's kind of like we share a love of like Stephen King novels. So it's kind of like, you know, I'm personally cool with it in that respect. But
there's, you know, a while back, Huggy Wuggy is the new Momo. Remember a while back we had an episode called No Mo Momo?
I do remember that.
So, because the people, like the YouTube Kids videos were being like infected, like people were putting these videos on YouTube Kids that were regular videos that YouTube Kids would allow, but then halfway through the video, it would become this other thing about like how to hurt yourself and like crazy shit.
Yeah, it's like way fucked up.
Yeah, it was super fucked up. And it was blown more out of, like it was a way smaller problem than the media would have you believe. However, the fact that it was a problem at all is fucked up. And so there's a new one called Huggy Wuggy. And there's like Kissy Missy or whatever, but they're from this horror video game.
Okay.
But they, like, if it's from this horror game, like you have to get away from these things, Huggy Wuggy, Kissy Missy, because if they catch you and he hugs you, he hugs you until you suffocate to death, like you literally die.
Oh my God, fun.
Yeah, so fun for kids, right? So anyway,
So
there's
fun.
this whole thing with my older kid showing my younger kid all about this, and the younger one goes back to her mom and is like, this is uncomfortable. And I was just like, what the? And of course, the older one was not above board about watching those to begin with. So it was a whole thing.
I mean, listen, it's a whole thing. So I'm going to go completely sideways because I wrote down a list of shows that I remember watching as a kid. They range from like, a lot of these are more like when I was younger, there were like cartoon animation type ones. And then there's ones that are like really weird and kind of like shows that I don't know if many people remember, but I do remember them. And then like the classic ones. So like, I'm going to read off a couple and I want to see if you've watched them because I'm curious. Because we do have an age difference between us, but it's only like 4 years.
Yeah, I'll be 40 next year.
Oh, wait. So, so like I guess like 4.5 because my birthday's in June and you're in January and I was born in 87. So,
right.
Because I'm turning 35 next month.
Right. So then, 4.5 years difference.
4.5. So there might be some there, like I was just going off of what I remember. So I wanted to see if you remember. So one of the big ones that I remember watching, and if Laura's watching or listening, this was one of her favorite shows, and she has a doll from the show. It's the show Dinosaurs.
Not
with
the
Jimmy,
mama.
not the
Ding.
Yes. Yes.
I'm gonna bite you now.
Exactly. She
that
literally
show got
has
weirdly real. Do you remember the whole episode about war?
No, I don't, because I was so little. I remember like those, it's like what you said, you remember bits and pieces. I remember bits and pieces about that show, but my sister was obsessed with it.
That show, like Robbie was the teenager or whatever, and he was like the oldest, but they explored drug use and peer pressure and all that through him, and he literally got roided up and became this rage monster beast thing.
Oh my God.
You
just ruined my childhood.
A couple
with that.
of episodes of that show about war. Literally, Robbie goes off to fight in the war against the four-legged, right? The four-legged dinosaurs versus the two-legged dinosaurs.
I don't remember any of that at all.
And war was literally, it's like, this is Operation We Are Right. WAR. War. Operation War. Those are my defining. I was older than you, remember? Like these were defining.
No, I know. That's
years.
what I'm saying.
And so, like I was their target audience when they were talking about drug use and girls and this and that and the other thing and blah blah blah.
Girls.
Like I was their target audience for sure for that stuff, and it was crazy. But that was what a good show. What a good show.
It was. Like, I really want to go back. So Disney put it out. Like, I got 2 years ago, I bought a subscription to Disney Plus specifically because they were putting the whole thing of dinosaurs on Disney Plus, and I gave it to Laura as like a gift for Christmas. So that there's like obviously a million other things you can watch on there, but that was the reason I got it because I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, well, exactly. So I was like, oh my God, this is on there. I'm like, that's amazing. She'll love that. So I'm like, I really need to go back and watch those because I don't really remember anything like that, but I just remember it from my sister. You know what I mean? So that was one of her favorites. This is another one that came up that I do remember, but a little bit. But Reading Rainbow, we used to have that on. It's kind of like that with like Sesame Street. That's
Rainbow. LeVar Burton,
and like the polka dot door was. I didn't write that one down, but that was like I put those all in the same category.
The polka dot door, Romper Room.
And I used to sit there and wait for them. Like, I think it's the polka dot door where they'd look in the mirror and say, I see so-and-so. And I would like sit there and wait.
I think that was Romper Room.
Is that Romper Room? Okay. I get them mixed up.
And Katie.
And you sit and wait for your name.
Yeah. And they always said mine. Adam was always in there.
They never said, I don't ever remember being like, I never remember them. They probably did. My name's pretty common. It's just Katie. So like they probably did.
My name was the number one most popular boy's name the year I was born, I think. So,
oh my God, you're so popular.
Well, no, I'm just one of those corporate bitches, the hive mind people. But
Just like, you're such an atom. Oh my God.
isn't that fucking weird since my name is actually Mark? That's super fucked up. But anyway, let's not get into that.
Anyway, let's not. Okay, I'm scrolling through here. Okay, so those were like younger ones. So Magic School Bus. Did you ever watch the Magic School Bus?
Yeah. Well,
Okay, that was one of my favorite. But that's like another one that there's been memes that I've seen of that show that were like kind of fucked up about things that they taught kids. Exactly. So there was like, they would go obviously on these like field trips and like learn all kinds of cool things, and they would, it was really cool that way. But then I've been seeing some, like I said, memes and stuff recently about, I remember watching this show, and now that I'm looking back at this is kind of fucked up. And it was like
the episode where they went into one of their classmates' bodies. Like, are you?
Yeah.
Gross. Like,
yeah.
The kid's sick, and they're like, we're gonna get inside you.
Go get the virus.
Yeah.
Right? Which is it's like a science way of being like, this is how your body fights off viruses, which I get. But one of them that was really, the one that I saw that made me think of this, which is why I wrote it down. But it was like, I don't recall the episode, but it was them being hatched in eggs from fish. They were fish eggs. But they were being.
Oh, yeah, they got jizzed on by fish.
Yes, exactly. Being seminated. And I was just like, okay.
I remember that episode. That was fucked up.
Yeah. But I don't remember like being as a kid, obviously, when you're younger.
When I was a kid, I don't remember that being a fucked up
You
thing.
wouldn't, because you wouldn't know what that is.
Yeah.
Like,
but now you're just like, oh. They just
like,
got
oh,
cummed
shit.
all over. Yeah, that's gross.
Oh, God. Anyway, way to ruin like childhood shows. What a great time. I love that.
Next episode, we're checking out the rectum. Anyway,
God. Let's not, shall we? Let's not. Okay, what else do I have on here that's like...
a suppository is? Get on the bus.
Let's find out. Okay, Captain Planet, and I had Captain Planet and Power Rangers. Planet, he's a hero.
Gonna take pollution down to zero, Captain Planet. Sorry.
So you do remember.
Maybe, a little bit.
Yeah. So I remember that show too. And that one and Power Rangers were like two of the...
Go,
like I didn't
Power
watch
Rangers.
some of the other ones. Like I never watched like Batman or Spider-Man ones or anything like that, but those were my two.
I was the generation that the original Power Rangers were designed for.
Okay.
The OG Power Rangers was aimed at me. I was
specifically
11 or 12. Not me specifically, but like my grade, like my age. Like we were the target market.
Your demographic. Yeah.
And it was pretty dope. Like it was
well,
dope.
I remember I used to love, I loved when they came out with the actual, like the real life character Power Rangers, the TV show. I used to love that because everyone wanted to be the pink Power Ranger. That was like a big thing I remember.
Well, but that was the original. The original was like a live action show. It was never a cartoon first. Never.
Oh, that was the original? Then I do remember that. I don't know that much about them.
Original.
I just remember.
And I always wanted to be the Blue Ranger because his name was Billy, and he was like this computer whiz. But whenever he typed on his computer, it was literally this, where he would have the keyboard, and you just see his fingers going like, and that was him pretending to type.
Yeah. Maybe he just was really good at typing.
People didn't know computers very well back then. So like like kids and teenagers typing skills, fucking zero. Like zero skills in the typing area. So
no, that's
it was
true.
just super funny. Like, and it was clear he wasn't typing anything. He was just hitting those home keys over and over and over.
Just smashing the buttons.
Just smashing the buttons. But did shit ever happen? It happened, so.
Oh, yeah.
Super funny. For crazy show. The Pink Ranger was hot as shit.
I think that maybe that's why all the girls wanted to be the Pink Ranger. I just remember that being a thing.
All the boys liked the Pink Ranger, let me tell you. And it's funny because like later in life, she was on this show called Flashpoint, which if you haven't seen it, one of the best Canadian-made television shows ever.
Flashpoint. Okay.
Look it up. It stars Hugh Dillon, the lead singer from the Talking Heads. It's, man, you want it like as a show. Right now, the only show I can compare it to is the current version of SWAT.
Okay,
like
I'm just Googling it now while you're talking.
But it's very emotionally heavy.
Okay.
While being this like, it was more about the relationships between the team than the actual, because they're part of the SRU, which is this like strategic response unit. So basically Canadian SWAT.
Okay.
So that's literally what it is.
Very threatening.
I just kicked my whole setup. But anyway, it is what it is. But
Good job.
the
Good
point
job.
is, dope show. But the Pink Ranger was one of the people on it. She was one of the officers.
Okay.
So
Love that. Good
it
for
ran
her.
6 seasons, I think, if I remember correctly. Super cool show. 5 or 6 seasons, I can't remember. But oh man, now that I'm saying that, I want to go back and watch it. But the Pink Power Ranger was one of those actors.
She was like,
And she was really
Yep.
good.
Yep. I love that. Okay, what else do I got on this? What else do I got on this list that I want to? Okay, so I got a couple. Okay, two that were kind of they're like same category for me as well. So Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yep.
Goosebumps, I think, is just a well-known 90s. Like, there's also the
R.L.
meme that they're,
Stein,
oh my God,
yeah.
Goosebumps. Like, that's like that meme goes around everywhere.
Yeah.
But those were so huge. Or Tales from the Crypt, too. I actually just thought of that. But those were like,
You mean Tales from the Crypt Keeper?
okay, sorry.
Well, there's a big difference because Tales from the Crypt was a very, very R-rated live action show.
Okay, it's definitely not what I mean. I meant the kids.
There's a cartoon
Whatever
version
version.
they made called Tales from the Crypt
Yes.
Keeper. And
Okay, that's the
there
one
is
that I
a
meant.
huge difference between those two things. I know far too much about 90s television.
Okay, well, I appreciate. I didn't have that one written down, but it just came to my mind because when I was thinking of, I actually watched Are You Afraid of the Dark with the kids, like probably maybe 2 years ago.
And
I was like, oh my God, it was.
Scary Stories was the other one. It was Are You Afraid of the Dark and Scary Stories were on back to back. So they would sit around the
Okay,
campfire.
I don't remember Scary Stories.
And Ross Hull was one of the actors on Are You Afraid of the Dark? And eventually he became one of the anchors on the Weather Network. So that's what he does now.
Okay.
Yeah, fucking weird, right? The random trivia.
It's also weird when you watch those shows when you're younger and then you see them doing other things as an adult. You're just like, you only think of that character that you used to watch and whatever specific show it was.
There was a storm going on in Halifax when I still lived there. And I flipped on the Weather Network to see what was going on. And there's fucking Ross Hull. And I'm like, oh my God, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Oh my God. Like, and I was just losing my shit. And it took me like, I had to, you know how every 10 minutes they redo the weather? I had to wait for the next 10-minute cycle because I was so like taken over by like Ross Hull being there. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what has he done
He's a
since,
weatherman now?
Yeah, you're a weather guy? What's happening? So anyway, it was fucked up.
I know,
cool.
it's weird. It's weird. It's almost that same feeling when you were a kid and you used to see your teachers outside of school. You're like, ew, you're like actually a person?
Yeah,
That's weird.
You're not allowed to be real.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have a life. Are you kidding me? That's just weird. Okay, so I've got, let's say these next four I'll put kind of semi in the same category, I guess. I didn't put these in a category. I'm just
we gotta
reading
get through
some
these
of
next
them.
4 though, because we gotta get the top tweets in as well.
Oh, shut up.
We're okay. All right.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, so then I'll just ram off a couple. I'll just list a couple more of these just to bring back some nostalgia. So we don't have to get deep dive into too many of these. But I want to read off some of my list.
Right.
So Rugrats was one of them. Recess was another one. Ned's Newt. That's I don't know if many people know that one.
That's a niche. Yeah.
It is a niche, but I remember watching that. Home Improvement, Full House. I think those are pretty prevalent.
Classic,
People know about. Yeah. Same with The Simpsons. I put that on because that's still going
it's
to today.
Literally still going. Yeah.
It's like this. Yeah, exactly. Blossom, which was a big one.
Bilak?
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce her name properly.
Balak? But yes, but she was Amy Farrah Fowler on
Big Bang.
The Big Bang Theory.
And she has her own podcast now that's very popular. So
she does, and she's like, does she semi-host the Jeopardy or something? She was doing like a little
she
thing
was
with
she
that?
did a guest hosting spot. I don't know. I think she was trying to be the next host. I think, speaking of Reading Rainbow, I think LeVar Burton would make a dope host of
he
Jeopardy.
would. That's actually a good idea. Yeah.
But I would totally be down with Mayim being the new host of Jeopardy. That'd be
Me
sweet.
too. I love her.
And
anyway, I love her.
So continue.
All right. Continuing on. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, obs.
Man,
we won't get into the whole
speaking of shows
Will Smith
that
thing.
got real at certain points. Anyway, continue.
Oh yeah, that one I do. Like I was at an age where like those hit hard.
Oh my God.
So I do remember.
I remember I watched that show and I'd laugh and I'd laugh and I'd laugh and I'd laugh, and then like once a season,
it would get real.
Once a season, there would be some like holy fuck connecting like, and you know I come from a home that is not broken, but when he had that scene with Uncle Phil and he said, "How come you don't want me, man?" About his dad.
Yes, that's like a huge one.
I have goosebumps right now just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to. I can't.
And
I can't emotionally. I just can't go there right now.
I know. Well, and I think they actually rebooted it too. I think it's like a new thing now.
It's a whole different. It's a drama. It's called BLAIR, and it's just called BLAIR. Like that's the name of it. But it's
okay.
But it's a dramatized. It's not a comedy. It is a dramatized version.
Oh.
So it's like.
Okay.
Yeah, it is not at all. If you're looking for like, oh, they rebooted it. No, they
close.
They reimagined it from its root, right? Same story.
Okay. Yeah.
Very different mood. So
gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Continuing on. Saved by the Bell, a classic.
Which version?
Family Matters. Yeah. Well,
the college years.
Well, just the original Saved by the Bell. We'll go with that one.
Kelly Kapowski.
And then Family Matters. Obviously. Okay, Family Matters, Dawson's Creek. That was a big one when I was like a preteen.
I hated that one, but I don't think I was their target.
Yeah, I love that one. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Katie Holmes.
I watched that.
I did have a Katie Holmes poster in my room. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I was questioning my sexuality with Katie Holmes, so
it shows Tom Cruise,
I think that might be normal.
Whatever. We're just gonna leave that alone.
No, that's fine. Just moving on. Boy Meets World.
Yeah. My kids love
Law and Order.
Meets World, by the way.
Oh yeah, because I thought they did like a spin-off of that one too.
It's a reboot, but it's like Topanga and Corey's kids.
Yeah, they're the parents. Yeah.
Or their daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's their daughter trying to come to terms. So it's like Girl Meets World, and it's fucking like the kids love it. Oh, my dog is making an entrance. Lay down, buddy. Lay down.
Oh, hello.
He's behind the table.
I can't see.
Lay down.
Well, I personally can't see. The people may see. Okay, what else do I have? I think I put Law and Order because that one like has been on for so long, but I remember I didn't start watching that till like the 2000s. But I put that on there because I know it's been going on for literally forever. But here's a couple other, I think like maybe like niche ones. So Doug was one of them. Do you remember remember
West.
Doug?
I actually interviewed Billy West last year at Winnipeg ComicCon. He does the voice of Doug.
No way!
And he also does the voice of Fry and a bazillion other characters on Futurama and Disenchantment and all that shit. So
I love Futurama. That's so sick.
Yeah, if you go to the WPG.ca and search Comic-Con, it should come up, Winnipeg ComicCon. I think it's the article's called Winnipeg ComicCon, a Success Story. But I actually got to talk to John Delancey, who played Q in Star Trek. I got to talk to Billy West. There's stuff there with Billy Boyd from Lord of the Rings fame and some other stuff.
Wow.
What?
Okay, well, go if you're listening and are interested in that, go check it out. I'm gonna go check that out. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
It's an article I wrote. I didn't. There is a clip because in my interview with Billy West, he's like because he does the voice of Zap Brannigan as well, right? He does his impression. His impression. It's fucking his character. But he does the voice of Zap during our interview, and he's like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, everybody knows a Zap, and he's like, "Oh yeah." He's like, it's a beautiful ship. I'm gonna fly her brains out." You know?
Okay. Jesus.
Yeah, but that's an actual line
that's really
from
cool.
the show. So anyway, it's just a small thing. So yeah, you mentioned Doug. Yes, done.
We're just like
Continue.
geeking out.
Yeah, I'm losing it right now.
Yes.
It's fine. This is
and I
my
had to-
childhood. Like these are my formative years.
But that's why I'm so excited. I really wanted to do this. So first of all, like I want, if you're listening or watching or whatever, please comment or share with us like those like nostalgic shows that you used to watch that maybe that we haven't listed or talked about. But I'm so interested because I actually started following on Twitter. There was a couple of like, it was like 90s TV shows, like Twitter accounts or something I didn't even know existed when I was like looking up stuff. But, and then so I will wrap this up because I just wanted to put two, I had in the category of like controversial / kind of not controversial. I would just say kind of fucked up shows that I remember, like animation ones that were a little fucked up. So one was Ren and Stimpy and the other one was Johnny Bravo. Those were two ones that I remember being on pretty consistently that I don't have like a super it's like a vague recollection of those shows. But I was like, I was going back
as well.
Was he? I don't know. I have no idea.
Now I have to look it up. Hold on. Ren and Stimpy cast. I'm pretty sure Billy West. No, maybe I got it fucked up. The Ren and Stimpy show, series cast and crew.
There was like some sort of reboot that was supposed to happen back in like 2020, 2021. It got like the kibosh, I think. Comedy Central was trying to bring it back. And it was more of like the articles I read. It was just like, they're trying to bring back Ren and Stimpy and no one asked for it. And we're not sure why they're trying to. It was kind of like that vibe, but there was nothing that was recent, in 2022 about it. So I have no idea what happened with that.
Right. Filmography. I look at Billy West's filmography. Fuck. Jesus Christ. He's done so many voices. It's stupid. He's done so much shit. Like, he was in The Proud Family, Cat Dog, Jimmy Neutron.
Oh, God, that was another one.
Johnny Bravo. He was.
There's all kinds.
Invader Zim. He played Zim in Invader Zim. But anyway, I got to talk to him about a bunch of shit. It was fucking awesome. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Cool. Well, then you should link that. I'll make a note for you to link that because if you want to go watch that, then you should do that. Not you specifically, the listener people, and also myself.
Okay.
No, you're not allowed. No. Okay, that's it. That's all I had. I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. But if you have any
in
more,
the comments wherever
list them
you can
out.
put comments on.
I want to know.
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Yes.
Whatever. Comment with what are the shows to you that were
like from your childhood?
Yeah. What are the shows to you that like made your childhood? Because I'll throw out Gargoyles was one for me.
Yes. I forgot about. See, that's the thing. I forget about some. Yeah,
but
excellent.
There was so much crossover with Star Trek, believe it or not. Like, Riker. What the hell? I'm forgetting his real name. Oh my God. But Marinus Sirtis was in it, who was like Deanna Troi in Star Trek. And Jonathan Frakes. Oh, I was gonna bug me. But so like there's a whole bunch of voice acting crossover with Star Trek to Gargoyle. So I was like, this is really cool.
Dang. Very cool.
I know way too much about 90s TV. You want to talk Darkwing, DuckTales?
Well, see, this is why I wanted to. This is why there were so many more though. That's the thing. Like I started a list and there was like hundreds. Like there was so many that I was just like, I can't even. We're not going to get through all these. That's why I wanted to throw out a few that stuck out in my head. Anyway, so I am very much interested, like even like for yours, like think about like another list of some that we can post on the socials and be like, here's some other ones.
Honest to God, like
because it just sparks something. I find like when you think about shows that you used to watch, you're like, oh shit, yeah like I remember watching those
I used to watch that, but I hated it, and I only watched it because back then there was no fucking streaming service. What was on TV was what was on TV, and if you weren't watching, fuck you.
You got what you got.
Yeah. If you missed this week, you like fuck it. Like you wait for the VHS tapes to come out in 7 months. Like that was it. That was like
It's true. It's very true. Anyway, I also do apologize if you're watching the video. My lighting's getting very awful because, like I said, I am in my bedroom and the lighting is getting questionable. Let's move on to our top tweets. Get the hell
out of here before you turn it just pitch black.
Get the fuck out of here, literally. Okay, so I don't have my glasses on too, so you guys know this already. I have to like squint and try and find them.
Old lady Katie.
Literally. Okay, the first one's from, well, I'm just going to spell it out because I don't know how to pronounce it, but it just says at FNLAU. Finlau. I don't know. It just says Amber, but then it's at FNLAU. Anyway, remember when you were... Yeah, don't worry about it. It's fine. Remember when you were like 12 years old and you would sing along to Blink-182, like, work sucks. I know, but you had no idea how much it sucked. I know now. I really know.
It's a good one.
Yes.
Can relate.
Little did we know how much it sucked.
But the thing is, like, I've learned that your job doesn't have to suck, but there are always, there's times in your life that even a job you like
sometimes you just gotta
can suck, right? When it gets in the way of what you want for your life. Like, I'm working too much. I like my job, but like I would really like to go on a vacation with my family and fucking can't, or whatever the fuck. Like there's times, and it makes you resentful of the job. But yeah,
I hear
for
that.
you young people out there, you don't have to do a job you hate, but at points you will end up doing jobs you hate. That's just a reality. But
you just got to get by sometimes.
Don't let your life be doing jobs you hate. You're gonna have to do a job you hate at some point, probably. Unless you're very lucky, you'll have to do a job that sucks, but you'll get through it. And I recommend, and I'm going to tell my children the same fucking thing, that look for a job that makes you happy, and don't be afraid to quit a job for a new job, especially when you're young. Just saying. Whatever. Continue on. We got no time left, so let's do this.
I agree with that. Okay, well, you said something about going somewhere. So speaking of that. This one's from at Lasaxi424. We'll tag it. It doesn't matter how old you get. Buying snacks for a road trip should always look like an unsupervised 9-year-old was given $100. And I 1,000% agree with that. It should. You just get the garbage. Just garbage.
Fuck a road trip. Like I eat a lot of edibles, and let me tell you, like that's buying snacks for that purpose alone feels like an unhinged 12-year-old was let loose on society. It was, So, I'm for a road trip, get out of here. Like, it's going to be Snack City.
Exactly. Yeah. I agree. I do agree. Okay. And this one is for, I'll post this on our social medias at some point anyway, but this one wasn't actually, it was just a meme that I found, but I just thought it was really appropriate for kind of the topic we were talking about, because it's also very nostalgic. And you're going to put this up in the video anyway, but it just says YouTube in the 90s. And the picture is Bob Saget in front of America's Funniest Home Videos.
That is exactly what YouTube.
Because that
is exactly what that show was.
It's exactly
that show.
Yep.
Like became YouTube. Like that's,
America's Funniest Home Videos with Bob Saget. 100%. That was 90s YouTube.
That is
fantastic. Rest in peace, Bob Saget.
Honest to God,
loved him.
There is no more accurate statement than what you just said. Fuck.
It's so good. And you know what? I'll share this one, even though it wasn't like a top tweet, because another one that I saw that was very nostalgic. It was, if you stayed home from school sick, you watched, it was spent with Bob Barker with The Price is Right.
Noon, every day.
Yep.
Well.
Yep. If you were homesick, that's what you'd be watching.
To us, because we were in Nova Scotia. So I don't know if back then, I don't know if things were time shifted or what the deal was, but I think they were.
I don't know.
Whatever. I was on at noon when I was a kid, is my point.
That's right. Anyway, happy nostalgia. Let us know things that, are nostalgic to you. I'm ready to hear about it.
Yeah. Let's revisit, especially if you're our age, or even maybe if you're older, you're going to start like listing shit that happened in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I'm into it. There's stuff there's stuff that I watch that my parents watched. And so like Three's Company was a big one. So like there's a list could go on and on, right? Like it's not stuff that I watch.
What annoys me
like
is
stuff that came out when I was a kid.
Kids who were born in like the mid 90s will say like, oh, I grew up in the 90s. And so like I had all this cool stuff. It's like, no, your formative years were in the middle of the 2000s. Like, fuck off. Like, stop trying to steal my shit. I was born in the early 80s. I suffered for that shit. Like, thank you very much. Get the fuck out of here.
Just like a personal vendetta against you.
I don't know.
Stop stealing my shows.
Trying to usurp my childhood from me? Like, fuck off. You came in a decade late and a buck short. Get lost. Anyway, not that I'm bitter about it.
Apparently it's a very sensitive subject. Okay, so before this gets out of control, I'm just going to go meditate, and we're going to wrap up episode 39. Oh, you know what? I forgot to plug. Next. Okay, wrapping up this episode. We are giving away a mug next episode. So if you're listening to this, it's you can either have, you've got a choice of this one that I'm holding. The lighting's terrible. I'm so sorry. So there's our logo. There's also a Bitmoji one.
Both are available
so I have a couple.
On our website. So if you want to know which one you want, PaRANTingPodcast.com. And then click on the merch, and it'll take you, and you can see the different types of mugs we have. The two we have available are both black handled, and one has the Bitmoji on either side, and one has the PaRANTing, just this PaRANTing logo that's behind my head here for those watching the video. But just the 3 bars with the PaRANTing podcast text on either side, like what Katie just showed you.
Yep. Exactly. So I completely forgot about that, but we are going to give away one next episode.
To celebrate our 40th episode. 40! I mean, it took us like 3 fucking years to get here or whatever, but it doesn't matter.
Yay! We took a small 14-month break. It was a break.
We took 2 breaks.
Anyway.
There was just that one really long one. Like we took
we took
a few months off because I think we started this in like 2018. Then we did like a bunch of episodes, and then we took a break, and then we did a few more, and then we took that stupid break, and then we're coming back hard, and
yes.
Hopefully you're enjoying it. Please follow us on all the socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We are on Twitch. We're going to be on TikTok. Yeah, I think that's it.
At some point. Yeah. Bye.
We'll see you next week, everybody.
Get out. Bye. Get out of here. Get out of here. Bye.
Shoo, fly, you bother me.
I'm like in the dark. I'm in the dark over here.
You live your life in the dark.
How does this thing work?